up, you guys? Come thrifting with me at the flea market today. I have a bunch of different videos on my YouTube channel of me going thrifting in a bunch of different places, so feel free to check those out. Also, be sure to like and subscribe for more because I post a lot of thrifting content, a lot of food content. If you want to have fun, make sure to follow me. Also, be sure to comment down below if you've ever gone to a flea market before, because I know that flea markets are not that popular anymore. I'm so sad because I really, really love flea markets. I think they're a great way to meet different people in your community. And every single time that I've gone to a flea market, I just find so many different interesting people, so many different interesting characters at the flea market. Everything that they sell tends to have like some kind of story, or even if it doesn't, they just like to chit chat. And I'm one of those people that will always love to just chit chat and mingle and talk to you about whatever it is you want to talk about. So I absolutely adore going to the flea market. The flea market that I'm at here today actually devastatingly closed down because of the hurricane that was a few months back. That kind of devastated it. A lot of the roofing and stuff that you're seeing in this shot got destroyed. So basically, like 3/4 of the flea market unfortunately got destroyed, and they just weren't able to afford repairs in order to fix it. So they just had to shut down. So I am looking for a new flea market in my area to go to because unfortunately this one shut down, and it's really, really sad because this was like an institution of my parents' hometown, which is where I was to go shopping at this flea market. Like, it's been ongoing since before I was born, and I have vivid memories of when I was like 4 years old and like going to this flea market and just like looking around, buying things. So my mom texted me fairly recently and was like, she went to go shopping at that flea market and it just wasn't open anymore. And she was like asking around, and turns out they just couldn't afford it. And that just makes me really sad. So I wish that they were able to do repairs. I went in on this day to kind of look at different kinds of jewelry and different kinds of thrifting items. I was in particular kind of looking for tools because I personally needed some more wrenches and stuff for a couple of different projects that I'm working on with different kinds of materials that I thrifted and different kinds of materials that I actually scrapped. And scrapping is also a lot of fun if you haven't ever done that before. So I was looking around, and a flea market or like any kind of thrift environment is so good for things like that because people tend to kind of allow you to haggle, which you can't normally do at a normal thrift store. And they tend to have things that are priced so much cheaper because, like, I know that in the past I've bought tools for like 25 cents or something. And the point of a flea market really is to haggle, which is why I enjoy talking to people whenever I go to a flea market, because you really want to like kind of talk people down from like the initial prices that they have. I also saw that they had a bunch of these different kinds of like high end or like bigger tools. I was not interested in like an axe or anything. That's just not really my vibe, and I feel like I'd accidentally cut off a finger or something if I was to like use an axe or like a saw or something. So I tend to stick with smaller like tools that I can hold in my hand as opposed to like a big tool like an axe or like one of those huge like um things that you can use to cut like a wire cutter or something. I tend not to play around with those just because they are not in like my comfort zone. So I was not looking at that, but my mom did hand it to me just to like show you guys. So I did look at it, and there were a few other things. This is like the kind of cool thing about this flea market in particular. They had like a mix of just like people going to the flea market and also like more structured shops, I'd say. So they have like things like this that have a very structured kind of uniform thing where they're just kind of selling things, and it's cheaper for them to do it through this flea market as opposed to going to like a traditional store. But they also have a bunch of people just selling things that they used to have and coming to the flea market to hang out. So it was a really good mix, and I am kind of sad. They also had Labubus, or I'm pretty sure that they were like off-brand Labubus, but it was really funny that they had those. I know that they've been like going super, super viral lately, and I was like, hey, look, they have Labubus here. So that was something else that was pretty cool for them to see. And then there were like a bunch of just different miscellaneous items, and that's what I really, really like about flea markets. Like, you can literally find anything under the sun at a flea market. Like, if you go into a flea market and just start asking around, people will tell you, like, hey, I might not have this thing that you're looking for, but if you go to like Billy Bob's shop 3 like hallways or corridors down, he probably will have it. And then tell them I sent you, and like you might get a deal or something. And that's just the sense of community that you kind of get at a flea market is just so much fun. I really also liked kind of just seeing all of these different things and wares. Like, the jewelry that I always saw at a flea market was so cool and so nice. And like, sometimes you really find some really, really good finds. I found actual silver, like that was stamped with like the 925 and stuff before. And one time I even found 14 karat gold earrings that the person was selling for like $1. And they were like good earrings too, pretty decent and pretty hefty. And if you know anything about the price of gold, you know why that is such a big deal, that I found it for like a single dollar. So the flea market, if one is near you, I would always recommend going and checking it out. If for nothing else, it's just something to do on a Saturday or a Sunday, because that's just something that my mom and I used to do all the time whenever I was living with them like full time. We would go out and get like different kinds of foods and stuff, because this flea market actually sold like fresh veggies and fruits and stuff also. And they actually sold live like fish and clams and crabs, which I used to get with my mom, and then we would cook it, and it was always so good because my parents live fairly close to the beach, so it was like almost fresh fish and stuff. I guess it was fresh because it was live, literally. So that is another really, really good facet of just going to one of these like thrift stores or flea markets in general. I also really like going and finding different kinds of clothing items at a thrift store or a flea market, because they tend to have them and they're really, really well priced. Like, I've seen people giving away really nice quality items for like a quarter, or you can haggle them down to a dime. That's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time. See you later. Bye.